Hello, this mini lecture will focus on the two interpersonal clusters of competency according to Dr. Goleman and other scholars, social awareness and social skills. Let's begin with social awareness. Social awareness includes three capabilities: empathy, service orientation, and developing others. Let's begin with a discussion about empathy. Being able to sense others' feelings and take an appropriate interest in their concern is central to this capability. Can you understand others' emotional states? Are you able to relate to them on some level? Do you have the ability to open up to others and identify commonalities about your experiences? These assessments are indicators of how empathetic you are. Oftentimes we find it difficult to relate to people who have experienced a loss in which we have not. I have a friend whose son passed away at a young age, and I really struggle to relate to the depth of despair he was experiencing. I'll post a video that summarizes the idea of empathy and offers suggestions of how to improve your own. The next capability under social awareness, Dr. Goleman calls service orientation. Meeting other needs takes empathizing one step further. In addition to recognizing and relating to others' feelings, a service-oriented person is concerned with what they can do to help with others' needs. The question is, how can I help? Service-oriented folks understand what is needed to help someone else. Instead of just asking, how can I help? Knowing how to help indicates a higher degree of service orientation. As my children get older, they are improving their ability to keep the house clean without being told what to do. They have developed an idea of what needs to be done. Whether it is to sweep or do the dishes or put out the trash, they can be helpful without me having to create a list for them. Their service orientation abilities have improved. They no longer need me to tell them what needs to be done. Well, most of the time anyway. If any of you have a job that can be stressful and time sensitive, you may be very valuable to your manager if you can take the initiative to help immediately to complete a task that is crucial to success instead of requiring your manager to figure out what you need to do. Finally, developing others is the third capability of social awareness, sensing what others need in order to grow. Dr. Goleman writes, quote, that family life is our first school of emotional learning. In this intimate cauldron, we learn how to feel about ourselves and how adept others react to our feelings, how to think about these feelings and what choices we have in reacting, how to read emotions and express hopes and fears. This emotional schooling operates not through just the things parents say and do directly to their children, but also the models they offer for handling their own feelings and those that pass between adults in the family. Some parents are gifted emotional teachers, others atrocious. End quote. Reflecting back on the emotional lessons you learned from adults in your family, did they have the ability to help you develop not just emotionally, but in other aspects of your life? In Dr. Goleman's book, Social Intelligence, he states that well-attuned parents offer a child a quote-unquote secure base that they can count on when they are upset, need attention, love, and comfort. End quote. Did you grow up with this secure base and receive encouragement when you needed it? Did your parent figure or figures help you discover your unique abilities and help to increase your self-confidence? Or did they put you down or ignore you, ultimately having a negative effect on your growth? The most effective parents, mentors, teachers, coaches, and leaders understand how to develop people, what each individual needs to help them grow. It is likely to be a different prescription for each person. The person with a clear understanding of how to develop others is more likely to understand what to prescribe to the people they are trying to develop. Moving on to the next cluster of competency, under interpersonal communication and managing relationships, this cluster is known as social skills. Many of us envision folks who are socially awkward as lacking social skills. However, Dr. Goleman and Dr. Peter Savoy identify a few capabilities to consider when assessing social skills. They also know that also known as your ability to handle or manage relationships. The ability to lead, influence, communicate, manage change and conflict, develop team capabilities, build bonds, and collaborate are the many criterion for the social skills category. Let's take a look at the different kinds of leadership you may have experienced. Dr. Goleman writes, quote, any collection of working people can readily recall two kinds of bosses they've known. One they loved to work for, and one they couldn't wait to escape. I've asked for such a list from dozens of groups ranging from meetings of CEOs to conventions of school teachers. The list that these groups have generated are remarkably similar to this one. Remember that high EQ is associated with effective leadership. Based on these contrasting lists, you can see that the list on the left requires a greater EQ, specifically social skills and the ability to communicate effectively, compared to the list on the right. The study of EQ has proven to be of utmost importance for leadership, as we discussed. EQ has been more important to organizations than IQ when trying to identify leaders. Can the person inspire, motivate, and guide people? Influence is a capability that must be considered as well. Can you persuade people to follow you? Are you able to inspire folks to buy into a vision that you have for the organization? Also, Dr. Goleman writes that maintaining your evenness, although someone is upset with you, can be very persuasive because you remain above the fray. So for instance, a student once told a story about how her teenage son was shouting about being grounded and throwing a fit. And she met his emotive outbursts with a quiet, measured explanation that there would be no negotiating. Her word was final. Her calm, controlled response made her even more persuasive and influential. Communication is an important criterion when considering social skills and handling relationships. Are you able to communicate in a clear, appropriate manner? When you write an email, is it understood? When you speak to colleagues, are your remarks appropriate for the situation? Think of all the communication mistakes by politicians when trying to lead us through the pandemic. Many messages were unclear. Numerous were inappropriate. Managing change can be one of the most difficult challenges when leading people. Change often leads to uncertainty and fear. Uncertainty theory tells us that the more change and uncertainty that exists, the higher probability that a significant interpersonal conflict will occur. Strong leaders can help us guide through major changes by offering a clear vision and reducing our anxiousness. Also, managing conflict. The next area that we'll discuss under managing relationships. One must be able to manage conflict if able to manage relationships effectively. We know through conflict management research that conflict is inevitable in relationships. If you are a parent, a manager, a coach, a teacher, a friend, or family member, you will have to deal with conflict. Your ability to listen actively, to collaborate, empathize with others' emotions, and manage your own anger will impact your effectiveness in conflict and managing conflict. Team capabilities is the next area of consideration for managing relationships. Synergy is defined as the combined power of a group of things when they are working together that is greater than the total power achieved by working separately. Team capabilities and success can depend on whether one can develop synergy within a group. Knowing to place people where their strengths are maximized can create synergy. Also, developing a team chemistry where people enjoy working together can also create synergy. And lastly, does one have the capability to collaborate with others? Is the person able to create win-win solutions? Do they have the patience to explore collaborative styles of communication? And does the person have the ability to find mutual interests to create an agreement to which all can buy into? Sometimes leaders get caught up in a competitive style of communication and they end up asserting their power. Your parents might say, "As long as you're living under my roof, I pay the bills, what I say goes." Some people struggle to hear opposing or even diverse viewpoints that could lead to a more effective decision. I hope you have a better understanding of the interpersonal clusters of emotional intelligence, social awareness, and social skills. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask via email or Zoom.